Hi everybody, I hope you're well. This quick video is just a follow-up or an update refresher on the business going on in the Middle East with the Strait of Hormuz, and I should always start these by reminding everybody that this is a general video, general information, doesn't specifically apply to yourself, of course, so as always give me a call or an email if you want to talk about your situation. A little over 2 weeks ago, I sent out an opinion piece, or an analysis, if you like, of the conflict over there. And because things have become protracted a little, and that's being reflected in the markets, of course, with a bit of a slide off, we've worked with our asset consultants and research partners, Quilla Consulting, to get another refresher, another update on the situation as it's evolving. I'll also back this quick video up with an email to everyone with the full piece attached. I think it's about 4 pages. It's quite detailed, quite dry, so lots of people like that kind of thing, of course. This video will be a very high level summary, and the attachment will to the email will have lots of information and charts and other things for those who really like that. The initial expectations, of course, as we said a couple of weeks ago, was that it could be fairly short-lived, and usually the financial markets, the investment markets, reassess things pretty quickly once the scale or the scope of the conflict becomes clear. But what we're seeing now is that as the situation is protracted and as the Strait of Hormuz remains completely closed off, of course the risk then is that it can impact things like inflation very negatively, and that then shifts out from being a short-term financial market problem, if you like, into a broader macroeconomic problem, where inflation and therefore interest rates increase, and we get into that cycle we saw a few years ago. So that's the risk, and the markets are really reflecting that right now, which is why you've seen, I think, the Aussie market today, for example, is down over 1.5%. So it's useful to know as well that it's not just oil that gets affected when that particular body of water is closed off, because it's also a shipping channel for all sorts of goods. So the risk is that it becomes this a supply shock, macroeconomic vibration heading out through the rest of the economy. So importantly, though, while this creates this heightened volatility once again, the positive underlying realities, if you like, that can and still will, we think, support financial markets and our investments, our super funds, our pension accounts, still remain. And those things like that AI-driven business investment and productivity, and also the continuing, with inflation in mind, but the continuing supportive environment from central banks with fiscal policy being set to balance off these risks. So really that's the situation. Yes, it is. The markets are reacting quite badly to it. That's the reason why it is developing and evolving and shifting out to be potentially more of a worry, broader economic terms. But it's also true too that if the markets always tend to overprice these risks and react really, quite negatively, knee-jerk reaction, if you like, but a strong reaction on the way down, which means too that if things surprise on the upside, if there's a resolution found sooner than later that doesn't result in this negative outcome that's being anticipated, then you see a quick bounce back in the markets as well. So our approach to managing these things doesn't change, even though the circumstances that might fuel them can vary from one thing to another. So I'm having a couple of chats with clients now who wonder about the investments, and wonder out loud, even generally, is there a time you pull out of markets? And the answer is not, unless you're absolutely forced and have no other choice. And the reason for that is that pulling out, and it might sound logical to a lot of people, but pulling out after a period of sliding is kind of after the horse has bolted. So you create a second risk for yourself, which is, well, when do you get back in? Do you wait for markets to recover before you feel confident enough to get back in? That doesn't serve you well. So the answer is, once again, to be as well placed as we can. We're managing these portfolios, trying to balance up all the reasonably foreseeable risks we can, and having the capacity to, as well as the fortitude to, look at the horizon and ride through these short-term waves is always the best strategy if you can. But I appreciate we've got to keep giving you reasons to be confident about that. So I think we can be prepared for more volatility and negative slides, even while the powers that be sort these things out. But the longer the closure goes, I think the less favourably the markets will see it. So we should be prepared for that kind of a thing. Anyway, I don't want to overplay it. I don't want to make it a bigger thing than it is, but that's the way we're seeing things now. Please, of course, get in touch if you are worried and wish to. Otherwise, that email we'll send out following this video with a good summary. Might be a good read through. You can pick out the bits that you find more interesting, I guess. Anyway, all good. Take care of yourselves, and we'll keep on working away for you. All the best. Thank you.